Welcome to a special edition of For the Purpose Of, the podcast where we explore the intersection of education and technology. Today I'm joined by our special guest, Kent ISD STEM consultant, Du Bowie, who has been on the podcast before to talk with us about STEM education. He's back today to talk with us about esports, which is another one of his interests. He's been involved in efforts to support esports programs in our local schools and around the state of Michigan with the REMC Association's Esports Amplified project. He recently was a part of a team here at the ISD that developed and ran the Kent County Esports Cup and is frequently found in our local schools challenging coaches and athletes to a game of Super Smash Brothers. Du, thank you for being with us today. We're excited to talk with you about esports.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Keith. It's always great to be on this pod with you and the crew. And today I get to talk about something I love very much. That's esports, video games, something that kind of helped raise me and kept me out of trouble.
Yeah, well, as a gamer, I'm kind of jealous that this is just part of your job. So I'm excited to talk with you about it a little bit more here. But would you, for people who don't know anything about what esports is, could you kind of describe what it is and what they should know about it?
Yeah, definitely. The E in esports stands for electronic, and it's actually been around for a long time. Electronic sports or competition. And can you guess what the first short form version of esports was, Keith?
Ooh, I'm going to guess it was something with the Atari. Maybe Commodore 64. I'm going back that far.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you're spot on. Pong, right? There's the competitive scene for Pong, then the arcades, and then Super Nintendo had their World Championship back in the 90s featuring Tetris and Super Mario, and one more that escapes my mind right now, but it's been around for a long time. It's only gotten popularized in the last few years, and esports now means video games in the form of a competition on a grand stage, either virtually or in person.
That's amazing. Yeah. I wish I could have gone to some of those competitions back when they were probably a bit smaller than they are today.
Yeah. They're so huge right now. And some of the stats we see is that more viewers view it because of the accessibility online through Twitch and YouTube Live than they view the Super Bowl, the NCAA Final Four, and even some of the tennis opens. So it's amazing how accessible and globalized esports is. It just connects everybody.
Mm-hmm. It's incredible. So your job is as a STEM consultant at the ISD. Why are you so involved with esports? And is there some sort of connection between STEM and esports?
Absolutely. So in the world of STEM, and esports is only a part of my job, but in the world of STEM, it's so broad that we try to help distill it a little bit so it's manageable for educators. We talk about big three components of a good STEM program being one focus on partly computer science, your computational thinking, your debugging, and all of that, and of course your traditional programming. And then we talk about the highlights in interdisciplinary STEM, so the three letters as in science, technology, engineering, sometimes arts, and mathematics, elevating those careers and having that awareness and exposure for students through that. And then the last part being soft skill development, usually a component of project-based learning or design thinking. And what's really great is esports allows, I think, really all of them to exist on one platform or another. If you think about esports, there's a lot of computer science involved with the inner workings of video game updates, with how teams use technology and have to set up technology, anything from network considerations to installing the programs, making sure they run optimally for a competition. There's a lot of computer science there. And then the interdisciplinary letters are in esports. There's a lot that makes an esports competition as far as the technology, like I said earlier, the updates in the math, the engineering, the science, of course, live throughout running an esports event. As these games, making a video game itself is a STEM project. And of course, I can just talk about so many different examples of the chance for students to develop soft skills. We talk to a lot of employers like Steelcase, where they can often bridge the gap between students who come out of college or trade school, and those technical skills, they have to train them anyway. But soft skills, they don't often aren't intuitive for a lot of people, and esports is a great platform for that. We have a major partner in Steelcase at some of our events, and one of their year 1, year 2 employees has used all the soft skills and some of the technical skills he learned through the esports world to become leader in one sector of the company in his first couple of years, and he attributes that to his experience in esports.
That's incredible. Yeah, you usually think of kids playing video games as like sitting in the basement by themselves playing a game. And that is just not at all what you're talking about. Your soft skills are the communication and the planning and the coordination that happens between kids, whether they're in the same room or not.
Absolutely, and to run an esports program as a director or a coach, there's 5 big games. You can't know every one, so you really have to build up the students to be like mini directors and coaches and leading that team of people like you would in a company or in the workforce, and delegating those responsibilities.
Speaking of leading, can you talk a little bit about the work that you've been doing with esports, both locally and around the state? I know you're involved with some stuff with REMC.
Yeah, that's really good. And you're talking, and you'd mentioned the REMC Esports Amplified project. And our goal was that as a team, the leadership team, John Phillips, our co-lead, and we're adding a couple more components to the project. But we're in year 2, year 3 of the project, and the heart of it is to make it more equitable and to make it easier for schools to start an esports program. So we wanted to provide some high quality training that was informed and partnered with NASAF, which is another national nonprofit organization that is research based and talks about scholastic esports and that scholastic connection. So we wanted the heart of everything we do to help schools and LEAs get an esports team that is surrounded and steeped in academic in nature. So we wanted to provide that training where schools got to see how you would start an esports club or program, but also all the different scholastic and academic things that they would need to keep it very positive for students who want to go beyond the esports team after high school. And then, of course, the equitable part, the more affordable part, we wanted to provide every REMC region in Michigan equipment to lend out for schools who wanted to start a club or an esports program and dip their toes into competition. One of the big esports games you had mentioned earlier is Super Smash Brothers, and it's why I love playing people when I can. I'm okay, better than the average, but like we are allowing schools to check out 10 Nintendo Switches in each region so that they can join one of the 2 big esports leagues in Michigan. And one of the key games they play is only on Nintendo Switch. So we wanted to provide the opportunity for them to start to have their start with esports and do it in an affordable way. And then, if they really like it, they have the structures down. After they checked out one of our Nintendo Switches, they can start to go get funding for other equipment. So that's really the heart of the program, is to provide the equipment to start and the training to have a successful and academically influenced esports program.
Yeah, what a great support to be able to lean on as a school if you are interested in getting esports up and going in your school. Hey PDX listeners, thanks for a great Season 3 of For the Purpose Of Podcast PDX. We've really enjoyed your thoughts on each of the topics we've discussed. Season 4 of For the Purpose Of is now open for registration. You can earn credit on this episode. Make sure to sign up for the new season at bit.ly/FTPO PDX. Speaking of PDX, your PDX reflection question for this episode is, what's one thing from this interview with Du that is sticking with you? And how would you see esports benefiting your learners? Let us know at bit.ly/FTPO PDX. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. I know that I've heard you say, and you said a little bit of this earlier here too, that esports isn't just about like the video games and the STEM connections, as you said, but there's also some like academic benefits. So looking into like core classrooms and core content, like how does that actually look?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing about esports is it's going to have any benefit that an athletic team would have. Increase attendance, gives kids a reason to go to school and to have that just extra carrot, if you will, to motivate them, because many of these programs mirror a varsity program, and I wouldn't I would not be surprised if MHSAA, the official governing body of high school sports, would adopt it as an official option in their statewide program sooner rather than later. But you get those benefits too, as there are academic checks, attendance checks for students who want to participate. So that as well. And there is heavy research on the SEL component, the social emotional learning component, as it gives students a sense of belonging and increased peer interaction on the soft skills. The benefit's clear that them belonging to something like an esports team is really great, and it allows, like that story I told earlier, for them to practice their soft skills and have pro-social conversations in a context that is in a team. And then we go to the academic benefits for students. They have to take on those roles, like I mentioned earlier. Someone's going to have to be in charge of keeping up with the updates. They're reading informative texts, weekly updates on these games. They have to decipher them, break them down, distill them, and regurgitate or communicate to their team and talk about like what changes in the game affect how we play. And then they coach each other through it based on that informative text. And oftentimes they run the media for the team. They run the broadcasting side of things. We call it shoutcasting in esports, but it's got to be put on a stage so you have local viewership. There are going to be parents and students who want to view their matches. So the team itself is in charge of running the stream. And a lot of times there's commentary involved in it. So there's that kind of reading up on the players, providing that color and technical commentary. It's really amazing, Keith, because I, not too long ago, went up north and turned on a TV. It was ESPN something or a channel, but I saw a student from Rockford, our very own Rockford school in Kent County, at Michigan State, doing the commentary for Smash Brothers. And that's all he did, was just commentary. Didn't even play the game, just did commentary and ran that broadcasting side of things. So lots of benefits there in sound engineering and the technology aspect of it as well, and the event planning. So many of these teams are event planners that are in charge of open game nights. The thing about esports is they don't practice every day. It's about 2 days a week, and the other days, oftentimes, they'll be in charge of running like an open game hour to bring other students in. So there's a lot of leadership skills that they have to learn, and sustainability as well in some of these random roles they get to take on.
Yeah. Wow. Just all around, just a positive experience for so many reasons. So you mentioned some of these. What are some of the benefits for students who are involved in the esports programs beyond school? Like, what do they do when they get past K-12 with these skills? You mentioned some, but can you go a little further with that?
Yeah, the thing about the esports world, even post high school and college, is that every college director or coach really knows each other, and they can kind of back up what I say too, that the benefit of being on an esports team, you make those big connections, you get to travel and get that bigger mind view, you get to meet a lot of different people as you make your travels and are involved in college. Like I had mentioned earlier, there are a lot of spots on many esports teams, not just for players, but for those people running the broadcasting, for people running the social media, for people running the production. Various colleges offer esports degrees, and I don't know if I love that esports specific degree, but maybe some colleges do offer like the marketing side with an emphasis on esports. So joining a team, you can work on your major in that capacity, in that instance, and develop your marketing that way. There are opportunities to do those things on an esports team just because it requires a lot of people to make it work and run. And any one of the colleges will tell you that they have a variety of majors that join their teams. And it's not like a specific video game creation major or anything like that. It attracts many different majors, and I think the appeal is the team aspect of it, the being in charge of a different aspect of the team, and maybe using what you're learning in your major to apply to that team to get that practice.
Yeah, and I remember a few years ago anyways, it was a big deal when esports programs were giving out scholarships, right,
Yeah.
for students in K-12, the K-12 arena, to get into their college. Is that still the case, and what does that look like right now?
Yeah, it's growing every year, and the scholarships by no means will match football or basketball or anything like that. But they do offer a way that make college more affordable. And like I said before, you don't have to be that good at the game. You can just contribute in another way. Like there are a lot of different career sectors in esports development-wise, either the marketing, the business, the IT, the event managing side of things, where they can kind of get a spot in the team and maybe get a little scholarship for it too. I know as the time of recording, Michigan State is the most well-funded program in the Big Ten, and it seems to be growing every year. So look out for your local colleges, because often at these in-person esports events, you can get recruited on the spot and offered a scholarship, if small or big.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to ask you is, what is one thing you wish everybody knew about esports? Every teacher that's out there, what do you wish they knew?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I wish they knew, but I guess the number one thing is it's more than just the 1 to 6 players who are featured in a game. It takes a lot to run an esports team, and different components of that a lot is the ability to work on soft skills and to work on technical skills. There's also lots of benefits that correlate with the traditional athletes. So I guess if that's the number one thing, that's what I would want them to know. It's more than just the players. There's everything surrounding it as well.
Yeah. Okay. And we like to ask, what didn't we get to that you wish we would have had time to talk about?
Yeah, no, there's a lot, and I think a lot of the programs do a great job of talking about the health and wellness part of esports. Sometimes these matches can last 4 or 5 hours. And it's encouraged that you keep your body healthy so that your reflexes, number one, are great, and so that you have good mental health. And if your well-being is great physically, you're going to play better. That's just naturally what is going to happen. We have some coaches that won't even allow their athletes to go into a lab if they don't smell good or they haven't, exercised or stretched before a match. So that part is there too. It's not just being on a computer all the time. It's about taking care of your body so that when you're on the computer, you can perform really well.
Yeah, function at your highest.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Cool. And I'll just throw one thing out there too, for our listeners, that one of the things that I've seen with esports, and do correct me if I'm wrong or if things have changed, but the cool thing I see is that esports draws typically a different crowd than what we consider normal athletes to be, right? Students who, you mentioned belonging, students who don't feel like they're a part of school or part of a team, can find that in esports. And I just think that's a really powerful thing.
Yeah, it's definitely powerful. Can we do a better job of making your typical esports student look differently and giving more chances to girls and women? Absolutely. And I think we are, as a state group in REMC, as we partner with 2 big esports leagues in high school, we're talking about ways to make it more friendly for students who look different and who might not necessarily have that opportunity. So it's a growing thing. It is for that student who says, what about me? You have all these things for someone who's really fast, who's really strong. But what about me? I have these different interests. I'm not super interested in that. I'm interested in this. So we are continuing to drive and make esports a more friendly place for those students who don't belong, but also allowing everyone to experience it so that they can make a choice and actually know that, oh, this is pretty cool. Maybe I should try this out.
Awesome. All right. Well, how can people learn more about you and the work you're doing with esports?
Yeah, they can email me at dobuoy@kentic.org, or I do have a website that talks about all the STEM services. Esports is just actually a small section of what I do, but it's something I really like. And there are various links to the Kent County Cup and seeing what that was all about. And then, of course, if you want to learn more about the Esports Amplified offerings that we have and what we're writing for and what future events and project updates will happen and when they'll happen, check out the REMC Esports Amplified website for more information on that. So yeah, give me an email, give me a shout out if you have any questions about starting a team at all, or coaching or directing or getting materials or the nerdy stuff including CPU and RAM. Let me know. But I will make a shameless plug for anyone who wants to get started. We're partnering with MySEF, and that is one of the two big esports leagues in Michigan. There's going to be a coaches summit August 9th here at Kent ISD, and that's going to have coaches and directors from all over the state coming to learn. And we're going to have various speakers from anywhere from Michigan State to industry partners, and it's just going to be a great time for anyone who wants to start an esports team or who wants to up their game as a coach or director. So shameless plug, August 9th. It's going to be $15, basically pays for lunch, and the rest of the day is free. If you're an educator, you do get 6 sketches that day, so I think it's an awesome time. So save the date for that and look for the registration to come out soon.
Yeah, be there or be square.
Yes.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much, Stu. We'll make sure that we put the links to all those resources you just shared into our show notes. And definitely reach out to Stu if you need any help, anything. You just want to talk esports. He's available for you. So thank you so much, Stu. Appreciate your knowledge and experience with esports.
Well, thanks for having me. It's always great to be on the pod.
That's it for this episode of For the Purpose Of. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks again to Du Bowie for joining me on this episode to talk about his wealth of esports knowledge and experience. We hope that you've enjoyed it too. If you'd like to learn more about REMC's Esports Amplified project, go to remc.org. That's REMC.org. We'll catch you next time on For the Purpose Of. This podcast was produced by me, Keith Tramper, and edited by me. Our theme music is Neon Nights by Scott Holmes Music.